O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Realtree, camo hunting, fishing, and land management products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. CVA, quality muzzleloader since 1971. QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. And Furminator, the finest food plot implement on the market.
Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder headquarters at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains. CVA presents Realtree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to the program. This is O'Neill, and we'll be talking about outdoors for the next couple of hours. Nothing from the Ukraine, nothing from Trump, nothing from Biden, and all those minions. Aren't you sick of that? I am, but I'm going to restrain myself and not talk politics over the next few hours because you deserve that. Are you getting ready for the deer season? Fishing is getting better and better. And you can join us on the program this morning. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta area. And across the country on the SB Nation is 800-972-8255. That's 800-972-8255. That translates to WSB Talk, T-A-L-K. It's 7 after the hour. We've got a busy schedule this morning. It's my obligation and pleasure to tell you that this program is brought to you by Realtree, Tough Shed, Striplings, Whitetail Institute, Arctic Ice, CVA, The Furminator, Quality Deer Management Association, Fisher's Choice Baits, Heating and Air from Snellville, our personal here, Appalachian Gun, and a new sponsor today. It's Thiessen's Camo. And what's so significant about Thiessen's is, well, it's Realtree Edge, and you can buy it online and bypass everybody else that makes money on it. It's Thiessen's. It's spelled Thiessens.com. You can visit their site beginning Monday or Tuesday, October the 1st. Can't do it till then, but Thiessen's is going to be a fabulous place for you to stock up on your camo for the upcoming deer season. Again, the telephone numbers are 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. And we hope you'll join us this morning. It's time for me to duck out of here for a brief break, and then we'll get started with the outdoors, and I hope you'll call and join us. I have questions, and we'll be back. We've got a busy schedule this morning. Welcome back. We will tell you that this is the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world, and it's because you give us a call in the morning on the way to the woods, on the way to the lakes, and we can talk outdoors. We seldom have an opportunity to do that during the week, so today is your day. We have a busy schedule this morning. First of all, the very crass self-promotion. You can watch O'Neill Outside television on various networks, the VOD channels, Hunt Channel, Fox Sports Southeast, Fox Sports Sun, Fox Sports Arizona, the Camo Crusade, Outdoor Action TV, Waypoint TV, and it just goes on and on and on. You can get your fill of O'Neill very easily. I know Gail does every single week. So, the book, go to o'neilloutside.com. Right there on the home page, you can order my first book. Second one's on the way. It's a reminiscence. It's the people and places along the way. And if you order it through the website, then I will sign it for you and personalize that signature. So, we have a busy schedule this morning. We have some indication. Well, let's see. We have some lessons from Quality Deer Management Association. We have the radio prize package. We have the Rocco's gift coupon. We have the fact that today is National Hunting and Fishing Day. Looking for something to do this weekend with your children? Visit the Department of Natural Resources here in Georgia, and I'm sure it's happening all over the country, National Fishing and Hunting Day. And many, many, many of the wildlife management areas and state parks, they have very structured involvement about outdoors, fishing, hunting, how to, where to, for you and for your children all day today and tomorrow. It's certainly worthwhile. Check it out on the website at Georgia Department of Natural Resources. I've got a whole long laundry list. They call it Outdoor Adventure Day. And it's from Gainesville all through North Georgia, South Georgia, and it's a terrific idea because I assure you, spending some time in the outdoors, your children will be fascinated by that. We're going to talk about the contribution that hunters make to wildlife and taxes and everything they pay. And again, this messages or observances, scientific observances by the Quality Deer Management Association. You know, I've always proposed, suggested, recommended that outdoorsmen, like you and I, we belong to two conservation organizations. Number one is the Wild Turkey Federation. Number two is the Quality Deer Management Association. And there are many others. But how so? Because you learn so much. And the more you know, the more confident you can become, and the more you will enjoy the outdoors and be encouraged to be involved. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Give us a call. I would like to know from you today, if you will, do you have plans, in an encouragement side, do you have plans to take a child hunting and fishing this fall? Do you? I do, and you should. I can remember all the way back to being 7 or 8 years old, and I got to go fishing with my uncles, my dad occasionally, and we hunted for rabbits, which of course the dogs were all involved, which was fabulous. We rabbit hunted in Loganville, Georgia. And I carried a BB gun. And when I hunted with my uncles, my grandparents, those days are still vivid in my memory because we were together and we were learning about the outdoors. A story I tell often ad nauseum. I don't have any more stories. I'm too old to generate any more. But I'll repeat your stories. And I can remember walking along the railroad tracks in Lake Mont, Georgia, to go fishing with my grandfather. And walking along the railroad tracks through the mountains, we didn't carry bottles of water, of course, but he knew where the springs were. And I can remember walking along the tracks and seeing spring water drip off the rocks, and we would drink water off of the brim of his hat. I didn't mind, but what a wonderful memory, because he took me fishing. 17 after the hour, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255, in celebration of the National Shooting Sports Foundation. I have some information that you may not know, because I know sometimes we run into people who are anti-hunters, and the more you're able to explain why you hunt and the benefits of the hunting lifestyle, the benefits of being a hunter are almost infinite. Here are a few right here at 18 after the hour. There are 20 million hunters in the United States. That's more than the population of some states. Hunters spend around $40 billion a year by purchasing firearms, licenses, gear, paying for gas, buying dinner, and this supports over 700,000 jobs. Hunters generate nearly $800 million a year through license and permit sales alone, and that goes directly to state wildlife agencies to preserve wildlife and their habitat. In addition, hunting and conservation groups, which I encourage you to contribute and be a part of, contribute an additional $440 million per year. Every day, hunters contribute $8 million to conservation groups. Yeah, sportsmen and men and women are the largest contributors to conservation, bar none. Not PETA, not the Fund for Animals, not the Humane Society. Hunters do. You and I do. Finally, the excise taxes on firearms and ammunition raises $371 million a year for wildlife restoration. That's not just game animals, wildlife restoration. The places that are set aside, the Chattahoochee National Forest, my little piece of property here, ours, Gail and I, we're right up against a wildlife management area. Don't have but 8 acres. Doesn't matter. But around us is 20,000 acres of land that's a wildlife management area. It'll never be built on, and it'll be managed by funds generated by sportsmen. Okay, I'll get off the soapbox in a minute and accept your calls. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside, lessons from QDMA when we return. Okay, before we get further into the program, one of our favorite callers is on the line right now, and we're bringing him up right now on O'Neill Outside, and it's Don, and he's calling from
Oconee, Georgia.
Oh, no kidding. Well, you tricked me, you rascal.
I've done that before, though.
Yes, you have. You're sneaky.
Yeah, we came over to Oconee, and we're over at Duncan's Lake House to dedicate his office building that he built here in Covington, Georgia.
Wonderful.
And we've been here. He served us. Me and Ross and family are down here. We got served with a eviction notice yesterday, so we got to get out Sunday.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you had some warning.
Yeah. Nice digs over here if you got to be away from home.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
What else is going on with you, Don? Have you got some good fall fishing planned?
Yeah, this is our time of year. You know, the water temperature goes down, the kingfish get aggressive, spots are running. The August run of mullet was exceptional this year, so we got something to eat and something to can and something to enjoy. So
there you go. Well, that's good.
So
go ahead.
Life is good on the coast.
You betcha. Isn't it funny how it's the same thing almost every year at the same time?
It is that. And, you know, after 30 years of fishing on the coast over there, the spots that you went to 30 years ago, they're still predominant now. So
you bet.
Yep. And later, you know, and the young people coming in, they learn those spots and they produce the table fare too. So that's a great life over there.
You bet. Well, I hope you have a great visit, Don, and that you have a safe trip home, and we'll hear from you next week, I hope.
Okay, we'll do that, O'Neill. Good
you bet.
show. Love you and Gail.
Thank you very much. Glad you called, pal. There you are. That's Don, and today he's not from Ocean Isle, North Carolina. It's 27 after the hour. Let's talk to because he's been on. Let's change subjects here just for a moment and talk to Dave. He's on the line here, calling for O'Neill Outside. You're on the radio, Dave. I think.
O'Neill.
Yes, sir.
I'm here. How you doing?
Good. What's going on with you?
I got a deer story.
Okay,
7 days ago, last Sunday, 7 days ago, my wife and I are eating at the kitchen table, drinking coffee.
Uh-huh.
And I live off Terrell Mill Road in Cobb County, so I live near Soap Creek and the Chattahoochee.
Right.
Well, my wife and I are sitting there, and she says, "Look! There's a deer in the backyard."
Uh-huh.
And it's a baby fawn about 4 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if that's that baby fawn deer, I said, there's going to be some parents right behind it. Well, here comes 2 more huge deer.
Uh-huh.
And that baby deer walk, and they got their nose down in the grass and in the ivy, and they walk up to a 5-foot fence, and that baby deer jumps that fence like there ain't nothing to it.
Oh,
Neil.
certainly.
I ain't never seen a deer jump like that, and that deer hadn't to be 4 foot tall. Well, here comes the parents or the sisters or whatever.
Uh-huh.
They jumped that same fence, that chain link fence that's 5 foot tall, like there's nothing to it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I never knew a deer could jump like that.
That's why these upscale deer ranches that are high fence areas, that's why they have to have a 10 or a 12-foot fence, or the deer will just jump over it.
I could not believe that baby deer could jump that 5-foot fence.
Yeah, how about that? Here's interesting. Of course, O'Neill always has to have his own story, and I apologize for that. But here's something that people may not know. Out west with the pronghorn antelope, which you're familiar with, I'm sure.
Yep.
All right. First of all, that's not an antelope. Number one, it's a goat. Number two, it can only run. It can't jump. So that's why even a railroad track sometimes will hem in an antelope because he can't jump over anything. Isn't that neat?
Never knew that.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, that is.
Well, it's always
That's
fun.
unbelievable.
It's always have fun. Deer, bear, raccoons, whatever it is, it's always fun to be able to view them and watch them. And if you're sitting at the kitchen table having coffee, that makes it more fun.
Unbelievable. My wife could not believe that. She was hollering at them. Anyway, that was something else. I had to call you.
You bet. I'm glad you did.
All right, man.
You bet. Have a
Sorry,
great
see
weekend.
You. Thank you. Yes, sir.
You bet. See you soon. There you are. That's a good call to start off the day. 404-872-0750. It's 4:30 in the morning Eastern time. I got a couple of things here with the upcoming deer season. I know I probably talked too much about deer season instead of fall fishing, but I'm sorry. People know how to fish. They know how to go fishing more than they know about deer hunting. And I am a member of the Quality Deer Management Association, and those are, you look them up on the internet, and a Quality Deer Management, QDMA, that's not just a bunch of hunters who got together. These are scientists, and you can learn so many interesting things that will amplify your knowledge and clear up campsite talk that straightens it out. Here's an interesting one. If deer see so well, how is it that you get away with wearing blaze orange when you're hunting? Well, the white-tailed deer doesn't see like we see. He sees blaze orange in a light gray or even a brown or maybe even a tan. And when you mix that with camo, then indeed it disappears. Your movement is what gives you away other than scent. But here's something that's interesting that debunks what many people think about the white-tailed deer at 4:32 in the morning. and that is that the white-tailed deer is colorblind. No, he's not. He can see various shades of blue. So if you're in the woods, you're standing in the woods next to a tree, you're not in a blind or not up in a deer stand, and you have on blue jeans, he can see you, and he will notice you. And while he or she may not know what the blue is, it's certainly not supposed to be there. So don't wear blue. So those are some of the things that you'll learn from the Quality Deer Management Association. Scientific things. And let's see, we've got good timing for this, I believe. Let's talk to John. And John is calling from New York on O'Neill Outside. Good morning, John. You're on the radio. Welcome.
Good morning. Greetings from the Catskill Mountains, where Tuesday, October 1st,
Good.
myself and thousands of other New Yorkers are going to be hugging a tree, climbing in our deer stands for the bow season opening day.
Fantastic.
Yes, and that also starts small game, too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, O'Neill, I've heard you in the past asking early in the summer if you're planning out your deer hunt and stuff, and what I do is when things are blooming out, in the spring, I look for the apple blossoms and see if the bees are pollinating them. Also, equally important, the oak trees. When they start leafing out and they come out with the little flowers to see if they're being pollinated. And this year looks pretty good.
Good,
and,
I'm glad.
In the bow season, we hunt by old apple orchard up here on the old farm.
That's
and,
interesting. That's interesting.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. That's good.
Yeah. See, we can't hunt over bait in New York State.
Right. Well,
we have to
let's think about it. Let's think about it, John,
Sure.
just for a minute. What does the white-tailed deer, other than the period of the rut, what does the white-tailed deer do?
Like you say, they eat and they sleep.
They don't do
And
much.
always-
They just kind of hang
No.
out. The bucks hang
Yep.
out with their buddies, and the females look after the fawns, and they eat and sleep. That's it.
Yep.
So if
Yep.
you find a food source like you have done, then you're halfway home. You bet.
Yep. Now, I'd like to do my photography, and
Oh,
so I
man.
spent a lot of time under the apple trees. We had the doe and a buck four-pointer on a regular basis coming out,
Uh-huh.
and I got some pretty neat pictures. The one doe, she was eating, and a phoebe bird, which is a member of the flycatcher, kept dive bombing at her,
Oh,
either trying to chase her away, and I was able to get 3 photographs of that phoebe bird almost inches away from that deer.
yeah, there
Right,
must have
and,
been, been a nest nearby, huh?
Well, no, not a nest. There was just, I don't know if it was either two things. Either it was trying to chase a deer off, or that deer had a lot of flies on it. Maybe it was trying to
Oh.
pick flies off of it.
That could be.
Yeah,
I
that's
hadn't thought
another
of that.
But also interesting enough, I was watching a woodchuck feeding. Now they're all down in their dens now, but I was watching a woodchuck feeding nearby, and then I lost track of him. I said, "Where did he go?" And I looked up in the apple tree. 9 feet up in the apple tree, there he is, eating apples. So I swung the camera up on him and got some video of that.
Good for
And I
you.
shared that with people on Facebook.
You really do
It's
make
rare to see a woodchuck up in a tree.
you really do make the most of your season in the woods, don't you?
Oh, I try my awfulest. I've been out in the woods many times over the years and stuff, 40 years basically, and I just love it. Hey, O'Neill, just one thing, milkweed. Let's take the common milkweed. Everyone knows it, right? You guys got it down there in Florida, do you?
No. In Georgia, no. Not that I know of. Not a prevailing
Oh, really?
population.
Oh.
No.
All right. Well, anyhow, milkweed up here, the flowers they're open 24 hours to the insects.
Oh, okay.
During the day, and at night the moths come out.
It's
and
quite
stuff.
a balance.
Now,
I'm
it goes
going to put you on.
Yeah,
I've got to go to a break, John. I'm going to put you on hold if you don't mind, please, because I have. Welcome back, everyone. 40 minutes after the hour, let's duck back into our call to John in New York, if he's still on the line. Let's see if John's still with us. Good morning, John. You were talking about milkweed.
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Yes, sir. You were talking about milkweed.
Right.
I'm not a botanist, so I'm not as familiar, I
Okay.
guess, with the plant life here as I should be. But you have milkweed there, huh?
Sure.
But you
Yes, it's just a common weed. It's a tall stalk plant, about 3 feet tall. A
Okay.
very fragrant flower. I really like the smell of it and stuff. But anyhow, I've been privileged to know old farmers up here, and they're all gone now, the old ways and stuff. And one guy had told me back in World War II, the government handed them onion sacks and told them not to hay their fields and let the milkweed come up and go to seed.
okay?
And they picked the milkweed pods. Now they handed them in, and what the government did, they sewed them into the life vests, the May West vest they called it
Uh-huh.
for the sailors.
I see.
And so that's just one historical fact that might not be well known that I had a farmer tell me firsthand.
Not at all. I had
Yep.
no idea.
And either did I, and I don't know what else they might have used to make those vests, because they needed all the raw materials they could. Everything else had to go to the war effort, the metals and such.
Very,
Now,
very interesting.
I know. Yep. And last time we talked, I was talking about looking at the stars and the moon and that. And speaking of the moon, it's a new moon today. There's no moon.
no moon.
Yesterday morning, I photographed just a little sliver of a moon. It was just enough for an Indian to hang his tin cup and powder horn on,
Uh-huh.
and it come out pretty neat. The photographs, but
Good for you. I would love to see
yeah, and
some
the-
of. I
and
would
the-
love to see some of your photographs. Why don't you send me some to my website at o'neilloutside.com?
okay, if that's I could try that if that's possible. I did buy that Bill Bryson book, Short History of Nearly Everything.
How did you like
and
that?
It's fascinating.
Oh,
so far.
yes.
Yeah, well, I haven't read through it yet, but no, it's he puts everything in chronological order, which I like.
Correct.
To
Correct.
do that. And, stuff,
And he does it in a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
pleasant way. It's almost just conversational. It's not like reading a
Yeah.
text at all. It's
Yeah. Yep, you
it's
bet.
like having a
Now,
conversation.
O'Neill,
with-
you said, yeah, you say you start your show with no politics and all that and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and it's great. Remember Paul Harvey Radio, the great Paul Harvey?
yes.
Yeah, he used to have to report all the bad news and everything, and then he'd pause and he'd say, "Well, wash your ears out with this," and then he went on with a good story.
That's
Well,
great.
we're washing our ears out with you.
Well,
how's that?
it's a very
with
kind
O'Neill.
comment.
Wash your ears out with O'Neill.
I've got to go, but I will tell you that
Yep.
it might be a good observation. I met him one time.
Oh, wow.
At a little airport somewhere in Pennsylvania. He was there to speak, and I was there to speak elsewhere. And to my great surprise, he's about 6 foot. He was about 6'5".
Wow.
Yes, I thought it was an interesting observation. Thanks for calling, John.
Yeah. You bet.
You
Take
bet.
care.
See you soon, my good friend. There you are. And now from Sonoria, Georgia, is Deja from Sonoria. Good morning. This is O'Neill. You're on the radio.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. I've never heard your show until this morning.
Oh, my goodness. Kind of scary, isn't it?
I was really laughing. It was making me happy.
Well, good. It's time to think about something else besides politics and business. Enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I'm actually from Utah originally, and
Oh.
I grew up hunting antelope, and I had no idea that an antelope was a goat until just now. And I was like, damn.
Well, that's my relative claim to fame by misdirecting the subject matter to something that I know. And I've always said
Well-
the more you know, the more you understand, the more you can enjoy that.
I love that, and I'm glad I learned that fun fact. Do you have any other fun facts, like a difference between a mule deer and a white-tailed deer? Because other than like how the antlers are or horns or whatever, I don't know no difference.
Well, they're very, very distinct species. A mule deer is almost gentle. A a whitetail, especially during the rut, he's aggressive. There are 36 different subspecies of whitetail deer in the United States. I don't know about mule deer, but he is a mountain critter. And while a whitetail deer can live his entire life on 100 acres, it may take 1,000 acres for a mule deer. Look them up on the internet. They'll become quite familiar to you.
Yeah, that's. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that it was the mountains just from being in Utah, but when I came out here and they had all these small deers mounted on the walls, I was like, why do they got a 2-point mounted?
That's left over. That's because in the past, we hunters, we harvested the deer too early. Now that's not the case. With Quality Deer Management Association and education and deer clubs and the realization that the deer will be much larger if you give them a chance to live longer. So the
well,
southeastern.
I'm glad they came to their senses.
Yes, indeed. Well, one of the things that happened is the fact that there's so many more of them. You see,
out here.
Yes, and everywhere in the United States, it's likely that in the when Columbus landed, 500 years ago, there were probably only 6 million white-tailed deer in the United States. Now, through conservation, monies, and so on, then the white-tailed deer in the United States numbers about 36 million.
Wow.
So it's changed dramatically. Thank you for listening to the show.
Yeah,
please do call more often.
Fact. Of course, I'm so excited. What is the time that you are usually on for?
It's 4 a.m. until 6 a.m., and then I promptly go back to sleep.
Well, I love it. Thank you for allowing me to call you. I had a lot of fun listening. I'm going to keep listening for the rest of your time you're on.
Okay, come up. I tell you what, let's you and I do this. Why don't you, this week, you come up with a really unique question.
Okay.
And I will answer it, or I will lie to you about it. Or we will be able to discuss it next week when you call.
All right. I like that.
Good deal.
I definitely will have a very bizarre question for you.
Good deal. Bizarre is a good word. And I will
Yes,
I'll look forward to seeing you next week. That's for sure. Okay, it's 48 after the hour. I've got time for this on O'Neill Outside. Let's talk to Rick. Rick is calling from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Hey, Rick, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Been listening to you for a long while, buddy.
Well, good.
I got a question for old Hank the Yank. If he gets on, pass it along.
Okay.
I grew up out on Bull Sluice Lake and up and down the river up to Morgan Falls Rapids and lived right there and camped out there and fished and all. I've caught a few carp out there, but I've started getting trout. I fish further upriver now, closer to where I'm living now. I grew up on the river over there in Roswell.
Okay.
But I'm up here, and so I fish around Medlock for trout, and I have pulled in probably 4 nice-sized carp up there, and I didn't know they moved up that far, and I don't know if you knew anything about it. They all up and down the hooch, and I just hadn't been catching them until this year.
We'll have to ask him that question. I don't know what the range would be. I
don't
that
either.
The shallow water carp is strictly a summertime critter. He gets on those ultra shallow waters in the sluice and in the little back ponds. We'll have to ask. We'll have to ask Henry because I don't know.
Well, there's a little inlet there that goes around behind the granite west and about that granite wall with the path and the chimney there. I used to camp there back in the 70s.
I remember that spot.
I used to camp right there and build a fire in that granite alcove back in the 70s. But I'm thinking about coming back down since I got that parking on a good boat ramp. I might put my little boat and run around that area because it was pretty deep. Do you know if there's any catfish in that area?
Well, yeah, if you fish for them, give them something good and stinky, you can catch them. Absolutely.
But there are some cats in that area.
Oh, yes, I think so. By all means.
Okay.
Catfish are everywhere.
I ain't never been able to get one up in the up anywhere upstream in the hoops.
Well, that might be a little cool up there, but which means you'll have to hunt. You'll have to fish a lot slower. But yeah, he's a warmer water fish. But man, you can catch him. I know that the best month to catch catfish at Santee Cooper, which is probably the best catfishing in the world. The best.
Santee, my brother. Yeah, up there pulled in some 100-pounders and such.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drive that far. I'm not. I don't leave more than about 15, 20 miles from home nowadays.
I understand. Well, I can tell you that from the guide's standpoint, I am told that the best month of the year at Santee is December.
Yeah.
When the water is
and
the coldest.
I may contact my brother. He moved up to North Georgia. And up the Hartwell or Elberton area.
Okay.
So I know I might go up there and fish with him around Parks Hill or Russell some this winter. And we might talk him into going to Santee.
That's right. Russell is a neglected lake. It's not fished as often as it should be because of its location.
Not since my brother moved up there, it ain't.
Aha, there you go. Glad you called, Rick.
He probably got three big freezer lockers full.
I understand. If Hank the Yank calls this morning, we'll ask him about that range for carp on the Chattahoochee River.
And tell him I've been catching some medium. They're medium good size, probably 2, 3, 4 pounder or 5, 6 pounder. Up there around Medlock Bridge the last couple 3 months.
Okay, well we'll let him tell us about it.
And I may come down and ask him, and I'll be listening if he happens. I might put in and come down there around Bull Sluice and see if I can find some catfish.
There you go. We'll ask him all about it. Glad you called, pal.
All right, O'Neill.
You bet. See
I'll
you
be
soon.
listening.
All right. Let's see. It's 50.
Have a good one.
You
Bye.
bet. It's 52 after the hour. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside every Saturday morning, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. on WSB and the SB Nation Radio Network. From Seattle to L.A., from Maine and WEEI in the Northeast, the #1 sports broadcasting station in the country, and WSB covering 38 states with signals bouncing all around, and we hope that you'll join us and listen every week. We have more when I return about the upcoming deer season with a few facts from the Quality Deer Management Association about the whitetail deer that you may not know, and we will entertain your calls, I'm sure, at 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. This is O'Neill. And in the studio in Peachtree City is Karen and Brian Green and Corey and Justin at WSB, and it's quite a setup, and I'm proud of you all to put up with O'Neill and his missing the clock times. You guys keep me from looking too bad. This is O'Neill. Hey, we're about to conclude the first hour of the program this morning, and let's do so with a call from Mark, calling from Camden County. It's always an interesting call when Mark gives us a shout. Good morning, Mark. You're on the radio. Welcome.
Good morning, old friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding. Where are you headed?
I'm going up to the farm in Jeff Davis County up near Hazelhurst, which I usually do on Saturdays from now till about middle of January.
Okay, good.
Yep. You and I have been talking now since 1994.
Wow.
Long time.
You betcha.
You ever do much calling for whitetail deer?
No, I don't. I have very sporadically. I will from time to time, but I call about as sparingly and as inoften as anyone. I might.
That's one of the most common questions that I get about hunting, believe it or not.
Really?
I get my brain picked pretty regularly. Yeah. I've got to ask me what kind of calls to use, how much to call, how do you rattle, and not all pieces of hunting property are created equal when it comes being able to use calls and be successful with it. one of the first things I always tell them is you got to figure out where you're hunting. What your buck-to-doe ratio is probably the most important thing besides knowing when to call, because it only works at certain times of the year.
Absolutely.
Yep. If you have a skewed buck-to-doe ratio where there are a pile of does available for the bucks, calling's probably not going to work too good.
The only the call that I use most is usually just a doe bleat, because I believe heartily on I hunt where the does are.
Yep. And when I call, I like to be able to do it when the bucks are really at their most crazy.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Speak, which is generally going to be right before the does come in.
That's right. All right, Mark, I'm up against the clock here, pal. I got to go. You have a great weekend here, and I hope to hear.
You too.
You bet. Hope to hear from you next week. This is O'Neill. I'm late again, and I'll be back.
O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Realtree, camo hunting, fishing, and land management products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. CVA, quality muzzleloader since 1971. QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. And Furminator, the finest food plot implement on the market.
Okay, it's 12 after the hour. We have a lot of calls. We want to get to every one of them. But first of all, I'm obligated and so proud to tell you that Realtree Radio is brought to you by Realtree, by Tough Shed, Stripling's General Store, Whitetail Institute, Arctic Ice. Once you use that, you won't use ice any longer. CVA muzzleloaders, the Furminator, the food plot equipment, Quality Deer Management Association, Fisher's Choice Baits, Snellville Heating and Air, Appalachian Gun, and a new sponsor is Thiessen, spelled Thiessen, Thiessen.com, and you can buy your camo direct, and it's Realtree Edge. Okay, 12 after the hour. Let's get to the calls. Don has been holding on for quite a while. Let's talk to Don, and this is O'Neill. Don, welcome to the radio show. Welcome. Maybe Don went back to sleep. I'll be back to sleep myself pretty soon. I can't get Don on the radio, so let's just let Don go. And now we'll talk to Wade from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Good morning, Wade. What do you say?
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing, buddy?
Outstanding. How about you?
Get you off speaker there.
Yeah.
Is it hot enough for you, buddy?
I'm telling you, it's about this time of the year. I'm about done with summertime.
I'm ready for the fall. We had one cool day the day I opened up all the windows. It was 58 degrees.
Oh.
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And 92 by 11.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's one of those times. We'll get over it.
Yeah, it's too hot sitting in the tree for me.
Yeah. People will ask me. I was in and around Jasper yesterday and got recognized, and people introducing themselves, and they all want to know if I've started deer hunting. The answer is no, I have not. It's too hot.
No, the mosquitoes too bad, too.
Yeah, you bet. Well, they never bothered me. I've never been stung by a mosquito.
Well, you done something right.
I don't know.
Garlic?
Maybe I just smell bad. I don't know.
I say garlic keep them off of you, but
oh yeah.
I got friends that smoke cigarettes that won't buy them. I don't smoke cigarettes,
and
they eat me. They love me.
Oh.
I say yes, I would clean the siding on the house with spraying the bleach and solution on it, and it was scrubbed right there with a pressure washer. About 10 minutes, I told Gary, I got to go for a minute. I got the rubbing alcohol, put it on paper towel, rub it on my legs.
Oh my goodness!
I had 4 bites on my left leg.
Oh well. They eat when we're Gail and I finish the day about 6:30 or 7 o'clock, and we sit on the porch, and she has to wrap up and wear long sleeves, or else they'll get her too. They don't bother me. So how about that? That's too bad. They got them in Kentucky, huh?
Oh, they big as they look like hummingbirds.
All right, good. Well, I'm glad you called, my good friend. It's 15 after the hour. You have a great weekend here.
Put me on hold on this.
All right, I'll put you back on hold, pal. There we
Appreciate
go.
it, buddy. You have a good week.
You too. There you go. All right, here's our here's always a relatively intelligent report from Mac. From Mac is calling on O'Neill. Welcome, Mac. What do you say?
What? Let's before we go any further, let's define relative here.
Okay.
Relatively intelligent. It's too early to think about that.
That's
How you doing,
exactly. Exactly.
We got a good report. Fishing's been good.
Oh, good.
I think, the lake's turning over and it's changed. We're definitely seeing a lot of change. It's that time of year. Turnover's kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
But this has never been October, late September and October have never been my favorite times of year. So going into that, it looks like fishing's, I would say, better than normal. So
good.
We'll take that as an encouragement. The problem that I see right now, if you're going to the lake this morning, you need to be ready to do a lot of different things because the fish are really scattering out.
Mm-hmm.
Different patterns, and mostly talking about stripers now.
Yes.
Still, you can catch some fish using your old summer patterns. Downlines are still good. They're still a good trolling bite. You've got some shallow fish that you didn't have in the summer. I think that's the biggest difference. And we got schooling fish that are incredibly sporadic, but be prepared because you may see them anywhere at any time. Have something tied on ready to go for those because it's happening often enough. You need to factor that in your game plan.
All right, let me ask you a question about that. On the schooling fish that pop up, they're on the surface. What do you use to cast to them?
This is going to surprise most people because everybody's going to expect me to say topwater, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I really like to throw a subsurface lure, and my favorite would probably be a bucktail.
Me too.
And, I'll tell you why. For one, if you go up, you've seen this, we've all seen this, they have a really nasty habit of coming up about 10 feet further than you can cast.
Right.
That bucktail, as opposed to something that's lighter, gives me that extra 10 feet, particularly if I got wind. Punch a hole in the wind, it'll go.
You betcha.
I like the single hook. I think I get a better percentage of strikes to hookups. And in my case, when I'm guiding and these fish come up, it's usually a pretty short window of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
With the jig, I can get the hook out, get the fish back in the water, and get the jig back in the water, hopefully quick enough to get the second or third bite.
You bet. I wonder whether or not mashing the barb down would make any difference.
I think it does.
I do too.
It does. I think that's a threefold answer to that question. For one, I think you can actually set the hook better without the barb.
I do too.
Now you got a smaller diameter hook to drive through his lip.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, once we get it in there, you got to be diligent about keeping your line tight because it comes out really, really easy.
Oh, yeah.
But if you keep pressure on the fish, it probably holds him. And then we can get him back up to the boat. We can unhook him much more easily, much more quickly,
mm-hmm.
and get it back in the water. So, I think a barbless hook, once you get used to the concept that's there, you got to really keep your line tight. You got to really pay attention to that.
Well,
I think
I'll comment that when, and I'm going back to Canada next summer, and in Ontario, you have to use barbless hooks. It's the law. Right. And I don't think I ever lost a single fish because I was using a barbless hook.
No, it's up to the angler. Once you get used to it and you get that mindset, you won't.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, with a barb, you can be a little sloppier maybe.
You bet.
You can let that fish have a little bit of slack.
I've been known to do that. Well, all right, fishing's good. I'm glad to hear it. And you presented answers to questions that I've been thinking about, and it was a relatively good report.
I thought it was a relatively intelligent conversation, as good as you can have this hour of the morning. How about that?
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, pal.
All right, O'Neill. Thanks. Talk to you next week.
You bet. See you soon. There we go. All right, let's see. It's 19 and a half after the hour. I've got time to talk to this guy. I believe he's been on the longest. Well, my goodness. Here's Blair Wiggins calling O'Neill outside. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing this morning, brother?
All right, mighty fine. I want you to know, and I only got about a minute and a half, but I will tell you the experience that you and I had with cranking the engine 20 years ago was one of the most. and after when I come back from this break, after the subject of your call, I'm going to tell that story.
Cool, man. That's a good story, man.
Yes, it was.
I remember that. I remember that one like it was yesterday.
You betcha. What's going on with you, Blair?
Well, we're trying to get our Indian River Lagoon system back down here under control and get the water cleaned back up so we can get our seagrasses and our big redfish back and our snook and trout and everything else that we've lost over the years. And our water pollution down here. You remember back in the 90s, all the clam boats down here, and we had to weave in and out of them. They basically took our clam population down to a point of non-sustainability, which we still got clams, but there's not enough out there to make the magic happen. So my project is to reseed the Indian River and part of Mosquito Lagoon with clams to help filter out all the water. Since we have no tide flow here whatsoever, they just came and they decimated our clam bed. So, and that was our only filtration system. So that's my big project I got going on. October 5th, we got a big fundraiser downtown Cocoa. And just want to say, anybody listening out there that wants to come, say you heard me on O'Neill, and I'll give you a ticket to get in.
Hey, that's a good idea. There you go.
Man, I appreciate you letting me on here, O'Neill. Man, we had so many good times out there in that river, and I want everybody to be able to experience it one time in their life.
Tell me, I got 8 seconds. Tell me the name of your television show and where you can see it. Hurry.
Addictive Fishing, Discovery Channel, starting in January. We're on Sun Sports right now, actually Fox Sports Sun down here in Florida, and Facebook, Indian River Clam Restoration.
Thanks, Blair. See you soon, pal. 25 after the hour, you're listening to O'Neill Outside, Saturday mornings, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. on the SB Nation Radio Network and WSB. That's 95.5 WSB, and around the country, 750 a.m. on your dial. I hope they don't mind my saying that. So we've got the radio prize package coming up. But first of all, before we do that, let's talk to Black. I haven't heard from this fellow in quite a while. How are you doing, my friend?
Good morning, O'Neill. I've been in and out of the hospital, my friend.
Uh-oh.
Listen, this is not pertaining to deer. Down here, well, I guess they're everywhere, is these armadillos.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let me ask you something. Whether you know it or not, do they carry leprosy?
They do not.
Okay, good.
That's an old wives' tale. They do not.
Okay. Well, listen, how's the wife?
She's just fine. She's just lazy, not getting up in the morning to do the show. That's all. She's upstairs asleep.
Anyway, you know, me and you supposed to get together and go fishing. I just got out of the hospital. I was in the hospital 6 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
But I'm back on the road to recovery. I said, I got to get back with O'Neill. I got that hat.
Oh, you did? Good.
Oh yeah. I'm enjoying it.
Well, nobody's making fun of you because of that hat, huh?
No, let me ask you something right quick.
Okay.
I may have asked you, do you and Gail have children?
Yes, we have 2 daughters. My oldest daughter is Amy. She's 51 years old. And Allison, our youngest daughter, is 47 years old. And they both live locally. And we have grandchildren. And yes, it was always my desire to have to not transfer all over the country and have my children grow up with their grandparents close by and have the grandparents grow old with their grandchildren nearby. I think the family unit is very important.
O'Neill, it all starts at home, my friend.
You betcha. Well put.
Listen, I hadn't been hunting in quite a while. What's the limit on deer now?
12.
12?
Yeah.
Okay, O'Neill. I won't take no more of your time, but I'm going to start listening to you again, my
Mighty
friend.
fine. Good to hear your voice.
I love you, and tell Gail hello for me.
I will do that. Thanks for calling, my good friend. There you go. All right, now let's, before we get to the other calls, we need to get the radio prize package out there. Here are the rules for the radio prize package. You have to be 18 years old. Your first answer is the only one you get to make. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. If you're on the call screen right now, you cannot answer the question. And here is the radio prize list. A Bojangles $10 gift card, Swaggerty's Farm gift voucher, which you can use at the grocery store, a Whitetail Institute DVD about planting food plots, an Angler magazine, 2 cans of Fisher's Choice baits, a Thunder Chicken from Captain Martin Oval, that's a casting float, a Thorogood Boots hat, Arctic Ice freezer pack. You ever use Arctic Ice, you won't buy ice again. A selection of True Turn tackle, a gift card for a full week of range activity free at Appalachian Gun in Jasper, and I think that's it. And the question is, we have a new sponsor of the radio show whereby you can order your Realtree Extra Camo directly from the manufacturer. What is the name of that new sponsor? Ooh, boy. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Right now, let's talk to Jim, and he's calling from Monroe, Georgia. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Professor O'Neill. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. I'm glad you called. What's going on?
Well, I just wanted to know if you ever had the experience of seeing what a tractor and a trailer and a vehicle looks like by improper tying it down on the trailer.
No.
You don't want to.
Oh, I'll bet not.
Passed a guy that was on I-20. I don't know where he was going last week.
Uh-huh.
And he lost the tractor, he lost the trailer, and he turned over the truck, rolled it and the trailer about 4 or 5 times.
Oh, boy.
And I can tell you, as we were coming by, I asked the state patrol, he looked at my tractor right quick, I had tied down. He says, "You use the 4-point tie down, don't you?" I said, "With the ratcheting ratchets, yes." Mm-hmm. He says, "I'm glad you do. You see this?" I said, "I've seen it before where people even go down the road. Scares me to death. When I get around them and I see that they don't have any chains on it at all, I start backing off."
Oh, boy. That's scary. I have never seen an accident of that nature and don't want to.
No, sir. You sure heavens don't. I mean,
boy.
all I saw was the after effects, but I can only imagine. I didn't. They said that the driver didn't make it, and I wouldn't have thought he would have.
Oh, my goodness. No kidding. Oh.
No. But other than that, that's about it. We're going down and going to try it. I know that it's mighty dry, and we tore it up about a week ago, and we're going down now to do one more plowing, and we start putting the seed in, and we crossing our fingers that our Father in heaven will pass us some rain, please.
Yeah.
And let us have some for the growth.
It rained. It rained up here last night, and it was sweet.
I bet the air smelled so much better.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
I mean, there's just something about a fresh rain, and especially if you've cut the grass. I mean, you just can't beat.
That's exactly right.
Aroma.
I can't help it. Here's an interesting fact. Ready?
Yes, sir.
There is no more water on Earth right now than there was during the formation of the planet. We will never have any more fresh water than we do right now.
That's correct.
Think about it. Where are you going to get some? You know what I mean?
Well, it's just like property.
Yeah.
Professor. It ain't more growing, and if it was, you wouldn't have any place to put it.
That's exactly right. That's it. We have all the water we're going to have, ever. And that's kind of scary, but one of these days, maybe when you call, we'll discuss how we manage that. I mean, we don't have anything to do with it, but the planet.
I like that idea. I would be intrigued to discuss that and listen to what you have to pass on to us students.
Okay, I will tell you the following, then I got to go. If you take a pitcher of water and take it out and pour it on your lawn, it will take 10,000 years for that to be used up in the clouds and in the water table so that it is usable again.
Whoa.
Most of it will evaporate up into the clouds, and then it will rain.
Right.
Some of it will seep down into the earth and go to the water table. But you can't destroy it. It's there forever.
Thank goodness. One last thing.
Go.
This will be my 61st year of hunting. I started hunting when I was 8 years old.
Wonderful. Good for you. I know you're looking forward to the season.
And you always make it more enjoyable each and every year. I don't know how you do it, Professor, but you do.
You're very, very kind, and thanks for calling, sir. I hope to hear from you next week.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Good luck. See you soon. There we are. And we'll try to drop that call right there if I can. And do we have, we've got the prize pack answer right now. It's 34 after the hour, and I think I have time to do that. So the question was, who is my new sponsor on the show whereby you can order your camo, your Realtree camo, directly? And so let's talk to Brandon. He's calling from Marietta, Georgia. Good morning, Brandon. You're on the air.
Hey, O'Neill. How are you?
Good. And what's the answer to my question, sir?
Decent.
Yes, indeed. How did you know that?
I just caught it right before as I was driving up to my deer stand.
Okay,
so.
that website where you can go and look at all the products and order directly from Thiessen starts on October the 1st. And that way I've already received a shipment, and it's first quality merchandise. And I'm glad you got the answer. Did we get your information from you, Brandon, already?
Yes, sir, you did.
Okay. Thank you for participating in the program. Give us about a week, and we'll send all that to you.
That sounds great. Thanks so much, Neil.
Mighty fine. Good deal. I'm glad you took the time to call. It worked out just fine. Okay, it's 35 after the hour. I've got another minute here. Let's see if we can chat just for a minute with Chuck, calling from Stockbridge, Georgia. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing this blessed day?
Lovely. Lovely.
Heading to the deer stand. Just want to listen to your show, and I wanted to give you a shout. I'm seeing on Facebook and some other places where they're talking about deer disease coming out of the Midwest heading to the east.
Yes.
I think it's a tuberculosis or a TB, a deer TB. Do we have any reports of that here in Georgia?
Not to my knowledge. Not in my reading about that. Most of the time that occurred during the cleaning or dressing out of the deer. But it's not something. It's not
That's
something.
when they get infected. No.
Yeah, that's not something you can ignore, and I'm glad you're already starting to look into it.
Did we lose you?
No, well, not quite. Okay, but you are correct, Chuck.
There you go.
There, you are correct, and we're going to talk about it more in a few minutes. I got to go right now, pal. Good luck. Good luck to you today. This is O'Neill, and I'll be back. Edward Dahlgren, France, 2nd Lieutenant, U.S. Army, 1945. Edward led the 3rd Platoon to the rescue of a similar unit which had been surrounded in a German counterattack. As he advanced along a street, he observed several Germans crossing a field about 100 yards away. Running in through a barn, he took up a position in a window and he killed all 6 Germans. His platoon then moved forward through intermittent sniper fire and made contact with the besieged Americans he was there to rescue. When the 2 platoons had reorganized, he continued to advance along the street until he drew fire from an enemy-held house. In the face of machine, pistol, and rifle fire, he ran toward the building, threw a grenade through the door, and blasted his way inside. All 8 Germans surrendered. In the next house, he killed 2 more in that building. After reorganizing his unit, he advanced to the next house by a window and trapped Germans in the cellar, where he tossed grenades, wounding several and forcing 10 more to surrender. On another street, he heard German voices in a house. He attacked with rifle grenades and drove them into the cellar of the house. Sergeant Dahlgren entered the building, kicked open the cellar door, and, firing several bursts down the stairway, he called for the trapped Germans to surrender. After that day activity, 36 German soldiers had surrendered, and he had killed 8. The bold leadership and magnificent courage displayed by Sergeant Dahlgren and his heroic attacks were in a large part measure responsible for repulsing an enemy counterattack and saving an American platoon from danger. Edward Dahlgren, France, 1945. He died in 2006. 404-872-075800, 972-8255. It's 43 after the hour, 5:43 Eastern Time. I appreciate you listening to the program this morning. I hope it's not been too scattered for you. And I want to jump back in here for the next few minutes and talk about some more tips, if you will, or instruction that I have received as being a member of the Quality Deer Management Association. The more you know about the white-tailed deer, the more successful you potentially are in your hunts. And I'm saying that you will see more deer, view more deer, you'll understand more about the white-tailed deer, your hunts will be more successful if you never pull the trigger at all. So, here are a couple of things. Most hunters today have an idea about quality deer management practices. That's good. But you don't have to have 1,000 acres to do that. It's a fact that some white-tailed deer, families, bucks and does and fawns, live their entire lives in 90 acres. So if you have leased or own a small tract, you can be effective with Quality Deer Management Association practices. Now, many hunters think, through advertising, that if you add minerals and so on to the food plots and to the bait stations and things of that nature, that you will grow bigger deer, that they will have larger antlers. Okay? That is not correct. You will have more healthy deer, but the size of the antlers have to do with the age and heritage of the white-tailed deer, not whether he has a salt block or a mineral deposit. If you want to improve the quality of the white-tailed deer on your track, whether it's small or large, the best thing to do is let them live long. A 5.5-year-old deer is much more likely to have a trophy rack, if that's what you're looking for, than a 2.5-year-old white-tailed deer. Okay, here's something that's interesting. Just like humans, deer sleep on a daily basis. I slept 5 hours last night and absolutely feel wonderful. Usually it's about an hour and a half. I feel better today. Can you tell? I'm talking like mad. So, however, whitetails sleep on short bursts, if you will, or bouts. They alternate between dozing and full alert They can sleep with their eyes open or closed, and they can sleep with their head up and ears cupped and be alert. Now, which brings up O'Neill's opinion. Do you think you can sneak up on a deer, on a white-tailed deer, if he's bedded down in some high grass or sage or bedded down in the thick brush? Do you think you can sneak up on a white-tailed deer? No, you can't. If he doesn't jump and exit immediately, I'm telling you the likelihood is that he knew you were there all the time and he was hoping you would just walk by. Contrary to popular belief that some of you may have read in magazines and so forth and learned otherwise, the fawn does have scent. Have you ever read about that a white-tailed fawn doesn't have scent? That's a foolish thing to even fathom. They have a scent, and that's how the mother recognizes them, and, regretfully sometimes, while we have a coyote population, that's how they're located, by scent. Dawns do have a scent. Fawns, that is. Now, twin fawns sometimes aren't twins. Research shows that 25% of twin fawns have different fathers. That doe is getting around, okay? And here's something not from Quality Deer Management Association, but from O'Neill that may answer a question for you. You've been looking at, you've been in the stand, you've been in the blind, and you're seeing, quite a nice buck, but you hadn't had that opportunity yet for that good shot, that killer shot, rifle, bow, or whatever, but you're seeing this guy on a regular basis. The last 2 or 3 times you've seen him. Then the next 3 times that you've been, you haven't seen him at all. Is he dead? Did somebody else shoot him? Has he taken a trip and not come back? Maybe not. Because once the buck finds a doe in estrus, he will, who's receptive to him, he will kind of corral her and encourage her to go into the deep brush and deep into the forest. And he will stay with her from 24 to 48 hours. He doesn't go to the food plot. He doesn't go to look for other does. He doesn't do any traveling. She is there with him, and he is with her 24 hours a day, sometimes for a complete day, sometimes as much as 2 days. So if you haven't seen your deer, your pet, the one you've been hunting, and you haven't seen him in a couple of trips, don't despair. He may still be there. Now, I was going to tell a story and I forgot what it was. Blair Wiggins called earlier, and I want to tell you, I've got time for this, I want to tell you about a little story. And all my stories are outdoor stories. Blair used to be, he's a fabulous television show host, and he's been on Addictive Fishing now for probably 15 years. Does an outstanding job. Very well produced, and he's an outstanding fisherman. He used to be a guide in East Florida, near Cocoa in that territory. I don't remember exactly where we went. So Travis and my brother-in-law and I were meeting Blair for a trip early in the dark one morning. Blair's already got his boat in the water. We're going to go red fishing. And the knucklehead dropped his keys in the water, the boat keys. and he could rewire and kind of advance the spark a little bit, and the engine would idle, but it wouldn't rev up. So we, after about a half an hour of trying to get the engine started, you know, things happen. We said, hey, appreciate the opportunity. Glad you tried so hard, but didn't work. So my brother-in-law and Travis and I pile back in my truck, and we're headed back to the motel. Well, Blair was driving a Toyota truck at the time. That's what he was pulling the boat with. So we're about less than a mile away. I look behind me, and here's Blair pulling his boat trailer, flashing the lights on and off. We stop. We get back to the dock, and his Toyota key operated the ignition on the boat. We had a wonderful day of fishing. We caught a couple of fish in the 30-pound range, and we had fish on all day, and it was a wonderful adventure because Blair Wiggins tried his Toyota ignition key in the boat, and it worked. See what I mean? Outdoor stories. There you are. Okay, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. It's been a very informative show today, hasn't it? Scary. It really is. But we have a few more minutes to go after the upcoming break. And I can tell you again, ad nauseum, you can watch O'Neill Outside television. If you locate it, much of the show is like this radio program. After it's over, if you'll stick with it, not from me, but from my guests, you may learn something or be reminded of something. This is O'Neill. We'll be back. We've got one more call, then we got to get out of here. Let's get to it right away. And that's calling George from Madison, Georgia. Good morning, George. What do you have?
Good morning to you.
What do you say?
You having a good... Hey, I was reading an article in the QDMA on the computer the other day about baiting and deers coming to feeders. Very interesting, and talking about your chance of seeing a mature buck on a feeder daylight hours is very low.
Correct.
But your chances were better seeing a buck, different trails, crossing, scrapes, than you would at the feeder. That most time what you see the feeders, yearling bucks and does and fawns.
That is correct.
So,
you are right. The herd buck is very rarely ever taken over during daylight hours at a corn feeder.
Yeah, it's a real interesting article in showing percentages, and that they do visit would be post rut after dark.
Yes.
So, everybody thinks that you can dump a pile of corn out, get Mr. Old Mossy Horns to come up here and let him get shot. He's smarter than we think he
you are correct.
But anyway, good speaking with you. I just want to mention that because a lot of people's got a false sense of success that they have since they legalize this baiting, especially in the northern zone. So,
George, so much of the things that we think we know about white-tailed deer, stripers, bass, whatever the case might be, that's just campfire stories.
You're right on that.
It's campfire stories. You learn about wildlife via the experience and education through conservation organizations. Good luck to you, pal. Catch you next week.
Good.
You bet. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside. And if you're too busy to go fishing, you're too busy. I promise. Give it a try. You'll be happy.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, "I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio." field.